fact, I
Actually,
called him on
Madhu, can
Saturday.
you ask him to send it right away? Because, every time, we are pushing that to the end of the class and then nothing's happening actually.
Okay. See, what I'm saying is that no, every time I'm seeing this is every time every session being recorded.
I know,
So,
even I can see that, but, this recordings are not being sent to us.
is it? Okay, they'll take care. Okay, all right. So let us look at the. Um, so, have you got any? Okay. In fact, I called him on regarding the recordings. I called him on Saturday morning and asked them to. They said they'll do.
I don't know why
Okay,
they're not doing it.
I'll check it out. Why the problem is that are they recording it or they're not doing it? I'll check with the manager over there. I'll check with them.
Because GoToMeeting will automatically record all this, and I think it'll store in whatever location you asked to store.
No,
But
I'll go to the next level. I know they're doing it, but let us not request furthermore. I'll check with the manager and get it done today.
okay.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay. Before we proceed on this rest of the topic discussion on the pig, um, could how about your comfortness on the hive so far? Are you having any questions, or you would like to spend some time on the samples?
Yeah, I think it'll be better to spend some time on samples, but I don't know everyone else.
Okay. Pig, how about pig? Okay. Have you got the basics about the pig? How pig and hive are positioned? So let us complete the pig discussion next 15 minutes. Then I'll come back to we'll revisit the hive and pig again in context of solving bigger problems.
Yeah.
So have you got the big picture about the pig? Where it is positioned? Pig is positioned as a data flow scripting language, scripting framework on the Hadoop. So it leverages the either MapReduce or HDFS or both, depending on the context. So the constituents of the pig are the pig shell, that's what we see. Underneath there is a pig Latin and the execution engine is there, right? And how does it take care of things? Pig care, everything is data flow, means you write a sequence of steps here, like one after other. You write a first step here, and then you move on to the second step here. Each statement you write it, that becomes a step here. So each statement you write it here, that becomes one process step. So that the output from the first statement would become the input to the second statement. And this is like a pretty much a scripting analogy. You take it, and finally you get the result. That result either you can dump it to a file or you get to save it to some other location. So that is typical, and even if you look at Unix batch scripting, this is the same pattern. Now you write some few commands here, and then everything goes like this, right? So that's what we have seen so far in the pig. So what are the abilities of the pig? We read about pig, right? It is schema-less thing. It doesn't really look at the schema. It only whatever schema you define in the in a scripting statement, it assumes that the file is in the same format and it doesn't store anything. Unlike Hive stores metadata. Pig doesn't store metadata. And processing controller is there. You have for loops, while loops, if condition, those things are there. You can control the how Pig is going to work. And integration, Pig is the one that integrates most of the ecosystem components. It can integrate with Hive, it can integrate with HBase, it can integrate with other ecosystem components like Scoop. It can tackle the file formats. Oh, I think I forgot one thing. You were asking about JSON, Avro, schema samples, right? Rajiv, did you? I think I forgot that. Rajiv, are you there? Not Rajiv, Raj. I think Raj was asking about it. Raj, are you there? So you're asking about the various file format samples, right?
Yeah, sample files. Yeah, I did ask. Yeah, in the last.
I think I completely lost track of it. I'll send it right away after the discussion. I missed that part. Okay, and then extensibility considered, we can take care of. You can write your custom functions and use them as user-defined functions. Just the way you extend that in the SQL Server or Oracle, you can do it. Right. So that is the high-level thing. So what else? What is the language which it supports the native types apart from tuple, bag, nulls, and everything is data set in the Pig. Right? Data sets are meant to be joinable, and you have for each loop, and you have grouping there. You can group the data sets, filter them, sort them, union them, and co-group them. This we have seen it another discussion. Just recap. I'm just rerunning it. The sample algorithm also have seen it. So when you talk about Pig as a data flow language, each box represents a statement here. That's correspondence, you see. So when you execute each line, the output from each statement becomes the input to the next statement, like that. So that is a programming language. There is a data flow language. Each statement produces a certain result, and that can you further crunch it down in the subsequent statements, like that. Let us look at the other program features, and then finally I'll come back to the discussion. So how do you load a file? How do you deal with data in the Pig? Everything goes by a file here. You have to identify a file. Then using the load statement, you write it. Load that file using the storage. Pig storage deals with text files by default. So you're saying that you are dealing with a text file, that too that is a comma separated file. And what is the schema of the file? The first column is ID, second first name, third is last name, like that. You define the schema for it. So Pig doesn't aware of the file schema and doesn't store the file schema. On the fly, you will supply the schema of the file. This is about loading part. How about dumping file? Dump statement basically like a output to the console terminal. So once you have a data set called A, you can dump it to the terminal. But if you would like to save it to the location, some location, then you have to call store command here. Store the data set A into that location. Also you can give the file name, or you can leave it. Pig can decide the file name. So this is the basic, very basic Pig syntax here. Okay. Next thing, let us look at the little more advanced statements here. First thing is loading it. Just now we have seen it. So you can load multiple files. So here look at it. I'm referring to my old sample files I shared with you. EMP1, EMP2. So these things you load as XY. Then once you have X and Y data sets, Now you are joining X and Y by designation here. Then you are filtering it here. And then on that, you can group it. You, if you look at this statement, this is about grouping the X by city. And sorry, this statement basically producing it. This is iterating to all the records in the X on only columns like ID and designation. It is we have many columns here: ID, first name, last name, but we're only interested in picking up selected columns here into B, something like that. And finally, the filtered data set, we are storing it. So this is the basic Pig scripting commands, whereby you are opening a file, doing some joining, filtering it a little bit, and then finally storing it. Let us look at the other programming capabilities. So what else we can do in the Pig? So if you look at the Pig scripting, distinct operations are the one that is frequently being used. How we can do it? Look at the sample here. Load some data set here. I removed the path just to have simplified it. Load the New York daily samples by this schema. Char array, symbol is char array. 2 columns you're loading it. Exchange and symbol. So distinct is a command. Distinct daily. It actually removes all duplicates in this. Imagine if you have a terabytes of file, gigabytes of file, removing duplicate itself is a very big task, isn't it?
Yes.
So in Pig, this is quite simple. This is very hard in the Hive. You can't achieve it. You can't achieve it simply in the Hive. But in the Pig, distinct operation is quite simpler and quite efficient. So this is in the contrary to the Hive and Pig. You can see some operations are very effective in the respective framework. So distinct operation, filtering operations are very effective in Pig, whereas querying and aggregating is very effective in Hive.
So how do we know which framework is better for which job?
Right. So one thumb rule is that if you are asked to do a sequence of steps, let us say you have given a use case to work on. Once you look at the use case, you come to know that use case needs sequence of steps, because you can't achieve that end result in a single way.
Yeah.
At high level, let us take about the this same example, New York Stock Exchange data. If you are asked to do like use case like get me all the stocks who have traded on certain day and has a margin of about 10% or more, and they never had any that kind of trading before.
So basically unique ones.
Unique ones, and also you have to look at the history as well.
Right.
You need to pick up those stocks which have performed on the day 10% they have performed it, 10% gain they have got it, but this kind of 10% gain they never got it before. So if you look at Hive, you can't achieve in Hive. The reason is that if you're only asked to do about 10% hike in a single day, that you can do in Hive. You can say filter condition, put it like that.
Yeah.
But if you want to look back to the history and put a condition, it should not happen before, that you can't achieve it in Hive. So in that kind of combinations, if you look at the algorithm how to write, first you have to pick up the distinct ones. Second is you have to look back to the data set like stocks which never performed 10% gain till today, till yesterday. And you have to prepare one more data set saying that stocks who performed 10% gain on the given day. Now you have to combine the historical data with the current data sets, and then produce only left outer join there.
Okay.
Right? So that kind of combinations you can't achieve it simply in Hive. So first thing is, you have, before you deciding on the framework, you have to break down your use case into algorithm. What are steps required in this? Right? So once you look at the steps to be needed to be done, then you can decide the framework. Most of the cases, when you have multiple steps to be done, then Pig would be the natural choice. In cases where one or two steps are involved, most one step is involved, then Hive could be a better choice. That is thumb rule. Okay. So this is about distincting. Now, here look at it. Here, you are loading in your daily sample here, and what you're doing is that you are grouping that data set on daily column. So you're grouping the daily data set on the symbol column, and you're saying parallel 10 means you can control how much mappers it's going to produce it. Parallel 10 means it is going to span up 10 map reduce jobs. So depending on the hardware availability, you can control it. That's what, if you look at the earlier statement, I mentioned it. This one, set mappers. Set mappers is the aspect you can control how the Pig is going to do the processing. This is the one. So the third thing is pretty handy for you if you're working on a Pig. Let us say you have a big data set and you don't know the data set format. See, look at it, load New York dividends. You didn't mention the columns here because you don't know what the columns are. So in that case, what you do, dump the first 1% records. Sample div 0.1. This statement actually dumps the 1% of the records. If you have 1 gigabytes of file, that dumps around 1000 records on the screen. Then you'll come to know the format. Then you can decide the structure later on. You can create one more data set that has structure here. So this kind of pretty when you're dealing with the big data sets, this is pretty handy. And this thing is pretty hard in the Hive. If you want to do Hive, what you write is that select star from the divs, limit 10. That is a statement you have to use to get the records. Limit 1000. If that spans, that activity spins up, it takes a lot of time to print the first 1000 records. Whereas the simple div, the statement 0.1 sample, the sample statement in Pig is pretty fast in printing the first 10 records, first 1000 records, first some personal records here. So this statement is useful when you don't know about the file and wanted to get the schema by looking at the data. This is pretty handy one. The third thing is that the order by things, the sorting, pretty much are possible what you see in Hive. You can combine the multiple columns and order it. The important thing is that Pig user-defined function. This is one of the most used feature in the Pig framework. In the many organizations, they feel that some areas Pig needs, they need their customized logic to deal with the data. Most of the cases that is true. So they go for developing a Pig user-defined function in a separate Java programming. They produce the jar out of it. That jar they have to register here, and then once the jar is registered, rest of things are pretty same. So here, if you look at it, for each div generated, the jar we are using it, Apache, so and so like that. This basically, this user-defined function is reversing the name of string name basically. String reversal logic is there. But let us say if you have a logic to compute the some specific computation, like giving a symbol, giving a star, you wanted to compute certain percentages, certain sentiment associated with that thing, that you can add that in the respective user-defined function like that. So basically, the idea of user-defined function is that if your organization needs a specific logic that doesn't exist in the pig, that you can extend in the pig user-defined function. There is a example also how to write a user-defined function in Eclipse.
But that will be Java programming, right?
Exactly. So if some people who are comfortable with Java coding, they can do. Let us say if you are not comfortable, you can hire somebody or you can engage some developer, give the structure, they can develop it.
Okay.
So many of the cases that's the case. Many of the cases what is going to happen is that you engage some Java team, give them this layout. This is what I need. Give them the framework template. They can work on it. They know how to do it. They might not be understanding the pig in and out, but they can develop a jar for you. All right. So pig storage, we have seen it. Yeah, this is the interesting thing. So pig storage, so far I was showing you pig storage in the text files. There are pig storage you can connect to the HBase, and there is pig storage to connect to hcatlog. So these they are very good. Gives the power to the pig that you can connect to most of the ecosystem components in the Hadoop. So HBase, anyhow, it's a key value repository. That is the next discussion. hcatlog is universal one. With hcatlog, you can connect to Hive, HBase, and you can connect to the other file systems as well. You can connect to the non-related file systems as well. Pretty useful hcatlog. There's one more discussion we have after HBase. So this will come back. Yeah, I'll touch base on this part once we're discussing on the integration part. These are all the integrations about the pig. Pig is a quite versatile one. Say you have a Hive, you have before you using pig, you worked on Hive and you developed some tables. So now you want to do some extra processing on the data. What is the file? Hive table. It's a simple file, right? You are using that as a table. But you want to do extra processing on the file, that you can use it with hcatlog. You can connect to that same Hive table you have defined earlier. Remember, we have defined the employee table, we defined some other tables, right?
Yeah.
Those tables can be connected from pig using hcatlog interface. This is a very powerful tool. So with that, you can reduce the rework involved in that. You don't have to define whole thing again and again. Once you define Hive tables, you can load the data into it. And this is one of the most frequently used feature in the pig. That is the reason pig became quite popular. It is having excellent seamless integration with much of the ecosystem components. Are you getting the point, Raj, what I'm talking? hcatlog is the one that can connect you with many things. If you have tables in pig, hcatlog can connect you. If you have tables in HBase, it can connect it. If you have files, hcatlog can connect you. So hcatlog is one more superset on top of the existing repositories. With that, pig can take any of the data and combine it. Or hcatlog can also connect to the traditional RDBMS data as well. Like that. Pretty much interesting concept here. In the hcatlog discussion, we'll discuss that.
This is these all are like sorry, Madhu. These are like loading utilities.
Exactly.
Like
loading utility. Basically, what happens is that in the organizations, when you're dealing with huge files, you can't move it that easily, right? So once you have defined that file at let us say in Hive, you want to reuse it from the pig. How do you use it? Using hcatlog, you can use it again. Okay. Let us say you have some database and a huge database you have. already you have some files in Hive. You want to combine these two files and want to use them single data. You can combine them together in the using hcatlab. You can combine them from both the sources.
Then it is like a viewpoint view thing, doing secondary index and creating the secondary table.
Not like that. See,
Okay.
in the basically you're not trying to query the data. You wanted to process the data. Two
Okay.
things involved in that. If you look at
Okay.
Hive, the concept of Hive revolves around querying data.
Okay.
You're not trying to read. You're not trying to filter it further, and get enriched one. That's not the objective, right? Is it? So what do you do in typical database queries? Do you want to? Is it possible to query data that involves a lot of filtrations? You can't do it, right? There are
Query
conditions.
means the loading, or like that word means like query means like accessing the data or loading the data.
Reading data, retrieving it.
Okay, writing data. Okay.
Not writing, reading only.
Okay, reading the data.
When do you want to read data? So in database queries, when you want to read data, is it possible to have multiple filtrations and then iterations, joins? It can support to some extent, but no, the level of processing is limited in the database queries, retrieving part.
Okay, yeah, retrieving is so like hcat loaders means like these. Do you have like this theory part, like how many loaders are there? What are their rules and regulations? Like how we load the smaller data we can load, and we can do steaming the data look like that.
So only three loaders are there in the Pig storage loader, H-based storage loader, and hcatlog loader.
Okay.
But hcatlog loader is universal one.
Okay. That means you can load in hcat like larger amount of data.
Larger and multiple things.
Okay. Like multiple sources.
Sources, exactly. That's universal loader.
Okay.
Whereas Pig storage only deals with HDFS files. So if you have a file in other system, other Hive that doesn't expose its data natively, that where you can't use Pig storage, you have to use hcatlog there.
Okay.
And then finally, what are the interfaces for the Pig? So Pig grunt we are saying it. Pig grunt is a shell. And you can even use the Java client API. You can integrate with Python API, and there are Hive connectors. Means that hcatlog is the Hive connector. HBase connector, that's again hcatlog connector. And there are other tools that can leverage the Pig, like one more framework, alternatives, and cascading. These two are the frameworks that leverage the Pig while processing data. So these things will come into play when you go into advanced Pig learning. But if you in the basics, if you are looking at the basic Pig learning, you can focus more on the syntax part of it. How we are loading the data, what are the filtrations available. So if you want to know further about the Pig, then the best place is the Apache Pig place. So what are the things you can achieve it? Distinct, filter. We've seen this keyword, set, distinct, filter. If you look at the distinct, you get a sample out there. So basically you're doing a distinct operation here like that, and filter here. Just going back, filter for each group. Import, you don't need to use that. Join, inner, out. We have seen the join statements, inner and out. Look at this one. Here we're saying join. If you don't specify the inner outer, that becomes inner. But if you want to have only X to be considered, irrespective of Y is there or not, then you have to go for
left outer.
Join outer. Like that.
Okay. So what if we only want Y but not X?
That you have to bring it to the left part of it.
Oh, okay.
whichever is the one on the left side, that becomes the left outer join, the outer join first. And then the load statement, you have seen it. This is to load a file, load a data store from hcatalog like that. Order by, we have seen it. Sample, we have seen it. Sample 1% data. This is used when you don't know about data. It's blindly you want to look at data and frame a structure for it. And store, you have seen it. We didn't discuss about the streaming part. Streaming is something that is a little complicated. I can discuss this part once you have gone through this initial discussions. Once you complete everything, before wrapping up, I want to discuss few specialized topics like streaming part. I'll discuss that. In the streaming, I can also discuss about the Python involvement in this. And these things you have seen it. Define, register these things. Look at this defining part of it. The syntax involved in this. But if you look at the overall syntax about it, they basically they register it. This is the one they do. That's what I mentioned in the register. You have a jar file. Don't worry about all this, before things. Just registering it. So that is the reason. If you look at my slides, this is oversimplified. They simplify things exactly what you need. So they cut off all the unnecessary theory involved in this. If you look at the jars, I mentioned it. Yeah. So I didn't mention all the background before it. You don't need to. Once you have jar, you can do it right away here. Right? And again, yeah. If you look at the language capability or the data types, there is scalars are, the scalars and complexes. Scalars are the single data holding the mechanisms. Integer is a scalar. It can't hold multiple integers. Only single integer value you can hold it. Long, float, double, char array. There is no string in this big. It's all char arrays. But complex things are ones, they are like structures. They can hold multiple columns. Tuple, bag, map. Map is a key value. Bag is a collection of tuples. Tuple is what? Ordered set of fields, A, B, C, like that. And collection of tuples becomes bag. And map. Map is key value pairs. Like they separate with some hash delimited here. Like this. So you don't need to really worry about these things. Or most of the times you use either use int or long or float. Any of the three, you're dealing with numeric data. And most of the times you deal with char arrays only. You'll never be using arrays or byte arrays. But you have to use byte arrays when you deal with binary data. Means when you want to process the images or the binary files, that time you might need to use the binary data. But in the pig, no one does really use the binary files. Most of the time, 99.99% pig is used to process the text files. For the binary data file processing, HBase is the better choice rather than the pig. That I'll discuss in the next topic, tomorrow. But most of the cases, Hive and Pig are used for the text-based file processing. When you need to process the binary files, the two options you will have is that one is HBase, second is the native MapReduce coding. If you are comfortable at a bit level coding, that is the way you have to go for it, right? So that's the reason I'm not focused much on the binary part of it, the other things which might confuse in the beginning. Right. So this link I've mentioned in the, today I'm giving you one more thing. The same data files you downloaded earlier, the same thing, just same scripting, how to create this directories, those things. So here I'm giving the sample code to you. I'm giving the sample code to load the 4 data sets. If you look at the Hive thing, same thing I'm using it here. So on the same set of files, you can query through Hive. And on the same set of files, you can do processing and the pig. So this is a very quick way of understanding pig and hive and look at their capabilities, right? So same use case I have given it to you. Hive and in hive and pig, same use case I have given it to you. I would like you to try it first. If you are having difficulty, I can give you the key, or to say key and questionnaire and key, right? I have a script for it, but I'll not be sharing it right away. I'll let you to try it. So once you try it, if you have difficulty, definitely you'll have a lot of questions around it. So when you try it, then you learn it fast, right? So then I can, at the end of the pig and hive discussion, I'll supply the sample for you. But this is a quick way to understand how pig can achieve certain things, hive can achieve certain things on the same set of files, right? This thing I already shared with you. Today I'm going to share you the other one, pig airport file. You don't have to worry about the file structure. I've already created the basic structure for you. All that you have to worry about, taking care of joinings, iterating through those parts. Those parts you can look at the pig basics. You'll get to know how to write the joins here. If you want to really work with joins, you have plethora of material here. Join A by C, many join statements you see it here. Joining outer, you see it. If you really want to be good at Hadoop, you should start learning this. You should start understanding this literature here. Many of the times, you have to come back to the Apache site and refer to the syntax here. It is very difficult in the Hadoop world. You can't master the syntax in the day one. You can't be. Even if you are practicing, for me also, even I'm there. I don't call myself an expert, but again, even I'm in this field for last 4 years now. Sometimes I can't even just remember the syntax there. I have to come back to the site and look at the syntax and deal with this. The reason is that if you are a Java developer, a .NET developer, or a data DBA or some other expert, you are restricted to one set of framework there. But in Hadoop, you have many frameworks. You have to learn it quickly, and this time you can't remember them all the time. So the secret is that you have to understand the syntax part first. When it's required, you should be able to come back here and get the thing you needed. That technique you have to adopt it. Otherwise, if you look at the things what you're doing it here, we are teaching you 8 different frameworks to you, is it not? We are teaching you almost, we have discussed about the HDFS commands and then the MapReduce, and we discussed about the Hive. Each one has their own syntax. They're not same. And furthermore, you have scoop commands, integration commands are there, and to add to complexity, Hadoop 2.0 has their own structure. Even if you think MapReduce thing is difficult, Hadoop 2.0 has little more. They've completely changed the MapReduce command statements. So that's furthermore complex to you. So what you're learning essentially at high level, at least 6 languages you're learning in 1 month course. It is very high, next to impossible that you can't remember everything. You can't master them. But what you can master is that you should know where exactly the source for it. Then come back to that source and get the syntax out of it. That technique you have to adopt it. Unlike the traditional approach, you have to master the syntax, then jump into the language. That you can't achieve it in a quick time. Especially in Hadoop, you can't achieve it because you are learning many things in short span. Agree or not?
Yes.
So that is one of the reasons I'm not really emphasizing you to be master of all the syntaxes here, but get familiar with the syntax here and then know what is the authentic source for it. The authentic source for each of the programming languages is that their Apache respective page. This I am providing you in the materials. And to simplify your learning, I have also, since you're using Horton VM, Horton has given a wonderful job about pig and hive. This is the very basic thing if you want to play with it. and they're also giving a data set to you. You can download the data set from this link, and they're given the whole code to you if you really want to play around with this. This thing you can open it. Don't go into the browser part now. I'll explain this browser later point of time. But look at the coding. They're doing it. These coding you can do it. They have mentioned the code in the outer box. So same code you can take it and then play around with this. So they have use case about the same New York Stock Exchange thing I have mentioned in the same thing. What you are seeing, this New York Stock Exchange samples. In fact, I somehow before that Horton I copied, but Horton also using same sample structure. They are using it. You can refer to the same. This also I mentioned in the bottom link. I mentioned this. So this is pretty easy way. If you find playing around with the authentic source a little tough in the beginning, let us resort to the simpler one. And they have the full set of commands here, and you can play around with this. But many of the organizations, they don't enable this UI to you. So that's the reason I'm not really recommending the UI at this beginning. Pig also has a UI. Hive also has a UI. Through Hue is the another framework. With that, you can use the Pig and Hive through browser. You don't have to really deal with terminals like this. But let us not adapt to the comfortness in the beginning. And in many organizations, they don't enable this UI to you. They don't allow you to use the UI because there's security issues around this UI. So they don't give access to the UI. So most of the times you end up doing accessing data to terminal only. So that's the reason better learn the hard things first. Then given the opportunity, you can go to the luxury later point of time, right? So just focus on these are the two sample sets we have. So they have given the exhaustive command set also. If you understand the initial use case, they'll define it here, what they're going to do. They're defining it, they're joining it, and then sorting and filtering it like that, right? So finally, you could see the data. You can compare the data with them, whether you're getting the same data or not, right? This is a very good sample to start with this. So this I'm mentioning it because the other day I'm observing that you're having a little hard time to get going through the native language commands, either in Pig or Hive. So I thought, no, since you're using Hortonworks, and Horton has done good job on the samples. They have exhaustive samples. You can even get to the other link as well. Many samples they have. All that you need is a basic understanding about the. So in the sandbox, they have given exhaustive samples here. If you have time, they have a lot of training classes are not the one. Tutorials. This is the one. So if you're as a developer, you can do many things like this. But these involves a lot of things. You can't really get into the Spark day one because they already jumped onto the Hadoop 2.2. You need some background. That's the reason we are discussing, spending more time on the background part of it. Straight away you can't jump onto Spark. Straight away you can't jump onto Tej like this. They are very complicated things. The next level things, not complicated. You need to understand the Pig and Hive HBase thoroughly before you jump onto the next level evaluative part of it. But once you complete the course, this is the way. You have to try out the samples in the Horton network, Horton sandbox, and get familiarity with this, right? So today I would like to. It is there. This link, this link I am mentioning in the text file. So remove this part, you will get the tutorial link part.
Okay.
Now everything you can play around with the Hortonworks. Okay. So you can start with developer first. Don't get into the administrative part in the beginning. It will be confusing. So once you complete all these tutorials here, I don't think you can start working with the right away. But once you complete the course, you get a hang on the things. Definitely, we're not talking about Spark in the current course. This is completely out of syllabus now. But Spark itself is a big discussion. It takes around 3 weeks to really work on the Spark. If you really want to understand Spark, you have to learn 3 more languages, Scala and Python. Then you can work on Spark. So first you have to understand Scala programming. Then you have to understand the Python programming. And then you have to understand the Spark programming. 3 programming languages you have to understand. So too much. So let us not get into that part now. So what I'm going to do is that I would like to get a refined samples to you. Let us not get into the mess here. This is initially look like a mess to you. So I will be giving you simple samples to you in the what you can do it in a the sandbox here. So if you want to play, if you really want to play around with the UI, you can do it. The easiest way is that open up that UI. So what is your VM IP? This is the IP, right? Take the IP. HTTP. Sorry. Should be 8000, I think so. Yeah, this is the one. So let me put the link to you. If you want to play around with UI, this is the one. So this IP address up to you. You have to figure out your IP address. This you know it, right? Raj, Rajiv?
Yeah.
You know, because you have in the beginning when you configure this empty party, you have done like this.
Right.
The same thing. So this is the UI for you. So to work on this UI, you have to start running the VM first. VM should be running. Then you see, this is the another framework, Hue. I have a separate discussion for it in the last week, means the last theory part. Apache Hue. This is the one. Okay, let me finish off the Hue also. And since you discussed the same thing, you'll be familiar with this. Hue is the Apache UI, Hadoop UI. So far you're working with you're seeing the terminal might be having hard time to deal with this. So if you want to really play around with the Hive and Pig in Sandbox, Hue is another Apache framework that simplifies things. So let us not, I'll come back to this part before I jump into it. So what you can achieve it in the Hue. In the Hue, you can connect to the Hive, you can connect to the Pig, means Pig itself connects to the MapReduce, but there is one more abstraction on top of it. See, this is abstraction on top of it. Pig connects to the Pig layer, and this underneath you have HDFS and MapReduce. Hive has an underneath MapReduce and HDFS. So this Hue is another abstraction on top of the Pig and Hive. So you can use Pig and Hive seamlessly on top of these things. Let us see what it constitutes. So it has mentioned something. Let us say if you want to play around with the Hive, click on the Hive link here. Now you got a query. So what things you can do? Show databases. Execute the query. Initially it might take time to reconfigure it. So now same thing you can achieve it, right? What you are seeing it here. If I'm logging into Hive shell, same thing you would be doing it if you really want to know the databases. Okay, still loading. Okay, so what you typically do, same thing you can do it, right? So same commands you can run in Vue and same thing you can do. See, same thing you got it here, right? Default demo one training exa demo like that. So the meaning is that all the commands you have seen earlier, you can run it here. So always go back to editor here. Even database also being listed here. Same way you can see in SQL Server, MySQL, right? So you can work with any of the database you wanted. You can save your query pattern here. You can go for a new query here. You can also look at the history part, what queries you have executed, what database are there, right? You can do many things. You can even drop it. If you click it, drop it. But this is one of the reasons, Hue is not enabled in the organization. So you can destroy the whole database if you want. So that's the reason in many organizations they don't enable this UI. And you can also look at the tables. Let us say if you want to look at the training database, I have employee 2, employee 1. If you want to look at the demo 1, I have employee 2 table, right? If you want to view data, you can view data. Pretty much, just play around with the view, you'll get to know. Sample, this is this metadata of the data, structure of the table, or to the data. This is sample data. First few records, you dumped it. You can import data into it. Import to where? You can import from your Windows 7 PC to this location. You can do it. This is using Hive streaming concept rather than the HDFS commands, because you don't have HDFS in your Windows 7, right? So different thing, they're using it. You can override the existing file. Pretty much handy if you really want to get familiar with the Hive basics. So I'm mentioning the path here. You just check out your IP address, and this is the port number you have to give. Then Hue will work. So in the context, Hue is like integrated between them. So let us see how Hue can work with pig. So pig, this is the pig shell here. You can give a shell. This is a demo 1 script. Now all the things you have done earlier, you can do it here. So let me go to the pig. So if you have this thing here, my pig basics. Where is my pig basics? Class hands-on. Pig basics. If you want to look at the pig basics, so you can load this one. Take out the simple command and execute it here. Right? So execute it. So you could have multiple statements also here. The whole thing you can put it here if you really want it. The whole thing you can put it. Finally, you say dump final. Till that point, you can put it here if you really want it. Still it's working. You can just see it here. It might take some little time to initialize the pig connections.
It is just like the Unix UI, right?
Exactly. See, it has done this processing part. So even if you can put all your commands in single line, see this one, you can put everything there. It's a whole script. This is the Unix, yeah, exactly, like Unix terminal. This is a terminal for the pig. So it is facilitating basically through web interface. You can put all the pig script here.
Yeah.
And then execute it.
How do you execute it? Save.
Earlier we have run the job, so it is running the job now. I can kill job now. Execute is the command.
Oh, okay.
Once you paste the whole script here, execute it or explain it. Explain and show you what all pig is able to do.
Okay.
Execution plan. Something like that. You can play around with this pig and Hive here. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done the samples, if you have having tough time dealing with the console here, terminal here, I would recommend you for Sharada. This is like a helpful to you. This is very helpful if you are not keen on this terminal usage. You can open this link here, this Hive, and then play around with this. It's pretty handy for you, right?
Okay.
And if you're having even if you're having the trouble in writing the syntax, those things, you don't have to worry. You can get onto the another instance here, and what is my IP? So what IP you take it? So I'm just putting that IP address for my IP address. I'm putting it for your case. So in case sample is that, you have to do it like this: remove the IP address and paste it here. This IP address you should be using it. So new instance. Open the new big new Hive instance here. What went wrong? Oh, it is there. Sorry. Take out the same IP address. You can open multiple tabs on also as well as much you want. So in one you can
One
open
thing that I got doubt here, you are loading the data XY. That is separate script. This is separate. So you can execute all at a time, or you are executing single SQL at one time?
Not all. What happens is when you execute it, it does it step by step, X, then Y, like that. One after the line by line it executes.
Okay, it automatically executes. There is no need of selecting one SQL and then execute, selecting one SQL and execute.
Not like that. No. Execute means you can't select one thing and execute it. It doesn't work like that.
Okay, in SQL it is like that. That's why I'm asking.
That is a customized editor for SQL.
Okay, because you are separated with the semicolon here. Every SQL is separated by semicolon.
Exactly.
So I thought it is like having a single script, a single query.
Not query, a single script.
Okay, single script.
It is like writing a stored procedure, or writing a PL SQL script, or writing a T-SQL script.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
So here
so it all can be executed one by one automatically when you select execute.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it is.
Okay.
So you can open multiple tabs here, and you can see Hive here. Hive being called as a BWAX. You see, it's called as a BWAX. Hive doesn't have a UI interface, so BWAX is another framework that connects to the Hive. So don't get confused here. So many things you see in Hadoop that many frameworks are coming to picture. So look at the Hive icon here and click on it. So Hive will have editor here, Pig will have editor here, like that.
It is in Hortonworks.
Hortonworks, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let us spend some time today or tomorrow work on these samples. If you are not keen on the samples, let us work on this Hive Hue thing. So that is the reason Hue is pretty handy. It has its own architecture. Hue has a web server. It can connect to all the extensive catalogs here, like that. So pretty much you can work with same thing you captured here. You can work with a file browser. In Hue, you can also work with a file browser. Look at it here, file browser. You can query the HDFS. Look at it here. These are HDFS folder /user. You could our folder also see. This is a folder we have been using it. word count. Remember this thing? We have created these folders here, Hive, EMP. These files were created, right? You can work it pretty much decently here. You can even upload a file here. You can download a file to local system. You can remove it, copy it, everything you can do on the HDFS. So that is the thing about the Hue. It has a file browser. It has a Hue interface. It has Hue interface, those things. It has the big interface, I think. This slide also send it to you. What else you can do in the Hue? You can go through it. Pretty much self-explanatory. Yes, sorry. I think this is about Hive. This is about also Hive. This is about the file browser. This is about the file browser. This is about the job tracker. This I'll discuss it in the 2.0 case. I'll discuss about the job tracker. And where is the pig? I didn't mention the pig. I didn't capture the pig, I believe. Okay. Okay. Anyhow, this is not a very big thing. I just took the screenshot of the same thing, what you are seeing it here, just to get familiar with the tools here. If you look at the icons here, Hive, Pig, and Filebrowse, primary things you can deal with this at this point. And once you have other discussions, I'll touch upon other parts also here. Okay. Shall we wrap up the session today? Okay. Okay then. We'll meet you tomorrow. I'll meet you tomorrow.
Sure.
Okay then. Thank you all.